Hello, my name is Christoph. I used to do kids TV as a boss. Now I'm just a writer and a consultant and a farmer. And very happy to be here with you, your host this morning, where we'll meet two very interesting case studies. And we'll start right now with Kristen Van Cott, who is SVP of Creative Development at Sketches Entertainment, and also the co-executive producer of Zevo 3. So I'll let her start. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm going to stand. I just need to walk and pace as I talk, so I hope you can follow me. Thank you for all coming today. I'm delighted to be here to talk to you about the newest show, or the first show from Sketches Entertainment called Zevo 3. It's an animated 26-episode, 22-minute show that is 2D with 3D elements. And we're really excited that as soon as we get back from this show, October 11th, it's going to launch on Nicktoons. And it's been a really long 2-year process from when I was asked to start this project. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we got here as a corporate brand and where we are and where we hope to go. I think we're an interesting study, case study in the branded entertainment sector. And I think that in some ways we've redefined what branded entertainment can be and will be. And we think that it's a really positive opportunity for content creators and producers and corporate entities to join together and really continue the wonderful content that has traditionally been done by production companies and studios, but now has a new frontier and a new supporter in a whole lot of companies that are joining this opportunity. So let me tell you a little bit about how we got here. My background, for those of you that don't know me, is from the traditional entertainment world. I started my career at Disney, Disney Feature Animation. I then went to Paramount Pictures and did my last stint in the entertainment world at MGM Studios, working on properties from Lion King to Tarzan, then to Blue's Clues and some live action stuff at Paramount, and then spending a lot of attention, a lot of time working on Pink Panther at MGM, both in its animated form, but also in using the animation to introduce, as it has always been, the live action series that used to star Inspector Clouseau as Peter Sellers and then, of course, became Steve Martin. When I joined Skechers 5 years ago, I was told I was coming on board to bring entertainment and my experience as a creator and creative to Skechers. I had heard and had learned for myself that the owner of the company, Robert Greenberg, was quite a maverick in the things that he got into. It's a family-run company, although it is publicly held, and it is also a family-owned company in the way that, and run in the sense that there are many families that work at Skechers. I have a brother that works at Skechers. It's hard to find someone who doesn't have a relative that works there, and the families and the kids and the audience that is our company is also the audience that are our consumers as well. And so when Robert came to me 2 years ago, he had just started about doing a TV series. We had started to create for kids all kinds of animation, flat animation, characters to use on shoe boxes and decorate the stores. Skechers is 35% kid-driven in our business. In fact, we're the largest kid shoe company in the US and hopefully soon to be in the world. And while we had done all kinds of creative things and ways to reach our adult consumers, we really were kind of lost on how to talk to our kids. And these designs had been created, a variety of characters for different things. And he had the idea of creating comic books. He personally, as a 70-year-old man, was a huge comic book fan as a kid, loved cartoons, and started creating these comic books for this one particular character called Cool Breeze. And it was approximately March of 2007. And while the characters, all different characters, have been around our stores for a long time, this particular character just resonated with the kids, and they started coming back into the stores and asking for more. Where could they see them? I mean, these are kids today that if they see art created, they just assume it's on the web. They assume it's on TV. They assume there's a video game somewhere. But in fact, all we had was this 5-cent comic book that they'd give away in the stores so that the mothers could shop. Soon after that, we created a second character called Z-Strap, and soon to follow Z-Strap was Elastica. All three of these characters are now part of our series, Zevo 3. They would, when the kids would come in the stores, the managers of our shoe stores, and we have 270 shoe stores in the US and another 100 worldwide, they would specifically ask, and we take surveys at our company, and the managers of the stores would write down, oh, kids looking for more comic books, more Z-Strap, more Elastica. And because of that, the CEO was reading them. And one night he called me, one afternoon he called me and said, come to dinner with me, I want to talk to you about something. And so we went to dinner and he said, I want you to create a Saturday morning TV show. Now, many of you probably know, for him at 70 years old, Saturday morning was the bastion of success for television and cartoons. And my job was to tell him that not so much anymore. So we discussed it and he said, I don't care, go make a TV show, go. So, as an entertainment department of 2, myself and Marcel Goldman, my trusty director of project management, we set out to find how to make a TV show out of 3 unrelated, amateurish-looking drawings that had very little background or story, and how to make sense that Skechers, the shoe company, was making this property. And we did some calling around, and we were very fortunate to find our way to Elizabeth Darrow, who's co-executive producer on the show with me. She had produced a very wonderful series called Sitting Ducks, which is still on the air today. Many of you might know it. And we just really sat down and tried to figure out what the next step was. And the biggest question for us was, is it 3 7-minute vignettes wrapped into a half-an-hour episode of 3 different characters? I mean, we were working with almost too much in that we had some little guiding force to go by, but it didn't provide us with a lot. So we started interviewing production companies and seeing, since we were going to be completely self-financed, which many of you know is crazy, really, to set out without a partner or out a network that you know you're going to be on and spend what turns out to be $7 to $8 million. We started looking for a production partner, and in 2008, when the economy was, there were plenty of people willing to take our $8 million. The problem for me was, what accountability, other than a work-for-hire agreement to create content, would any studio have? While they were all brilliant and talented people, they had their own projects going on. And Liz luckily suggested going to work with or interviewing Mike Young Productions, who many of you might know as Moonscoop now. Mike Young Productions joined Moonscoop, and they have formed a production company that also has a very well-known distribution wing. And my feeling and Liz's feeling was, it's great if they make it, because then they're going to be accountable to sell it. And that's accountability that I want. So we started working with them. We started developing the characters. We had the luxury, and this is the good side of making content from a corporation, we had the luxury of hiring the best of the best. We had the best writers. We have looked at the best talent. We had the best directors. And very quickly came together this show called Zevo 3, where it's an action-adventure series, but it's also comedic, and it is surrounding the topic of teen angst. And as all of you know, king in creative is good creative and good storytelling. And we set out to accomplish that, if nothing else. So as we started making the show, we went to our first MIPCom in October of '09. We had a 30-second sizzle, or maybe it was a minute sizzle reel, and stuck it in the book, stuck it on the viewing, viewing seats that we all sit in, and with no deal, and just we're plodding ahead, making 26 episodes, and somehow, by the grace of God, we became the 20th most watched show overall of the 420 that were submitted. And soon after that, we were fortunate to sign a deal with Nicktoons. One of the things that I think is really exciting about being part of creating content from a corporate side is it was the four of us and Mike Young Productions. I didn't have a partner in a network or a partner, you know, 9 financing partners. There was no notes from 90 people. But what we did have, because we were probably a little bit naive, is we had in Mike Young somebody who could vet each little step of the way with friends and relationships he had at Nicktoons, at Cartoon Network, at what now is the Hub, or the Discovery, Hasbro Discovery combination. And they really knew and directed us with our characters and our stories in a direction that made us stand out in some ways. Our main character, which is Jason, the oldest of the trio, is a multiracial character. Our girl character is actually the athlete and a very strong character of the 3. And the third one is a brain, a very bright kid. And we make all of those things very cool and very appealing to teenagers. Before we go on, let me show you a little bit of animation so you know what I'm talking about for the rest of the discussion. And can you hit the tape? So as you can see, you know, it's a beautiful show. The artwork is beautiful, and we're very proud of it. But what really was the most important to the Skechers side of the business was, you know, we have this audience of children from 6 to 11 and their mothers, and how were we going to take our DNA as a company and communicate our values as a company within the show? And so we just started asking around in the company from different families, what are your kids facing? What's going on? What's going on in your house, in your world? And we've incorporated a lot of these themes in the show. And everything from the struggles teenagers have with algebra to you know, having 3 teenagers that are basically trying to live their very awkward teen years while saving the world, essentially. And 2 of the characters, the Ellie and the youngest, are brother and sister, so there's a natural, you know, fight between them. And I think it's resonated, it's made my CEO very happy, but it's also, we've gotten a lot of really good press. And when we were given a first look, sneak peek on Nicktoons the weekend of October 22nd, we actually were the highest rated show. And what's interesting about branded entertainment is nobody expects that. Nobody expects a company to make content that is genuine creative content. You know, we made a very strong effort in this show. We have no product placement. I know that a lot of traditional branded entertainment shows are filled with product placement or based on a character that is a toy or a product, mostly toys. And that's just not what we did. We just created a show that was completely separate from that. But let's talk about you know, where we're headed and what's going on. Currently, Skechers is mostly doing original content, but the aim is to create a genuine entertainment division that will bring in creators from the outside that match with or that echo the sentiment of what we're trying to communicate as a brand to our families. And you know, it's really an exciting way, I think, for people who in the past have really struggled to find financing or really struggled to get the doors open for them, because we have those relationships. I mean, we have those relationships both by the partners we've worked with, but also where, you know, obviously as a company, we have a giant marketing machine. And let me tell you a little bit how that marketing machine comes back to the world of entertainment. When we started this, I mentioned we had comic books that the kids came in the stores and they saw and they said, where's the entertainment? We created the entertainment, which is soon to be on the air, but to drive viewership and to encourage tune-in, we then took the sizzle reel with what you saw, a slightly different one, and put 1 million sizzle reels in shoe boxes across the world. Well, actually across the country, because we only had domestic partner at the time. And now the shoe boxes have become vehicles. We send out 20 million shoe boxes to kids a year. It becomes a vehicle to drive tune into the show. Traditional shows just don't have that. You know, traditional studio-made or network-made shows don't have that opportunity. And we've created a comic book that we now give out in the stores that's about the show instead of just to entertain kids in the stores. So it's kind of a perfect circle. I really think there's an opportunity out there for, as I mentioned, for content to be created by companies that don't even know they should be doing this yet. You know, many of you might know Nike has an entertainment division, Coca-Cola does, Skechers does, and I think it's really going to take some innovative people from our world to teach them how to use this opportunity in a way that, you know, is a break-in opportunity for creators and producers and people that, you know, have great things to say. Also, when you're working with, you know, a self-financed company, you have the good fortune of, when you go to talent, picking from the best. Our villain, and I don't know if he's up, you'll see up there, our villain, who's called Stankfoot, is voiced by Mark Hamill of Star Wars fame. And he led the cast, basically a very young cast, through, you know, acting through this show. And it was a delight to have him on board. Now, having him on board, again, is something that drives tune-in, drives viewership, and it becomes a perfect circle once again. You know, I can't say enough about how the production value of this show, how high it is, and how wonderful it is. I also, you know, want to, you know, point out that we were super vigilant about keeping any hint of commercialism out of our show. You know, there's no Skechers, anything in the show, no shoes, no apparel. The superheroes don't get their powers from shoes. And I think this is a way, a direction that hopefully everybody will be moving in branded entertainment. We really have been committed to that from the beginning, and I think that that's a challenge that all corporate entities will face when you're going to commit this kind of dollars out of your budgets, your advertising budgets, or your marketing budgets to this. Zevo 3 is just the first of many projects that we're developing. We have some for television. We have some that are direct to DVD. Hopefully there's some that'll make it to the theaters. I don't know. That would be fun. But we're in it for the long haul. And you know, I want to show you also a little bit more of the content that shows you the kids in their both human and superhero forms, just so you know what to look for, hopefully worldwide very soon after this show. You guys.
The Zevo compound gave us powers.
Now I'm Cool Breeze with a K. I became Elastica. My hair kicks butt.
And I'm Z-Strap, master of all things metal.
We're super mutants. Great. Mutants. That's hot.
So now as superheroes, we can fight crime, monsters, aliens, supervillains?
Seriously, why are you still here?
'Cause we're superheroes! This is a 24/7 job.
Are you crazy? Superheroes? Have you seen my schedule? I don't have time for this. I have a life. I have algebra!
I guess it's just you and me. High five!
Do it.
Ha! Got him!
I totally blame myself.
You're alive!
Okay.
Great.
Cool, sure, yeah,
They're gonna blast that hotel!
But there's a dog in there.
And a girl! That is a girl, isn't it?
You two stop those guys from setting off the explosives. I'll get the girl.
Well, sure. I could go after the girl, just once. But, yeah, you know, that's cool. I understand he's older and, yeah. Strap, where are you? Are you out? We have to re-enlarge you, now!
Look, I lost the antibodies. I've got to go back and get them.
You're not gonna make it. If you don't get out of there, you'll be microscopic forever!
I know, but if I can get the antibodies, you can deliver them to the hospital. You have to save Ellie, no matter what. Mom? Dad? I'm sorry I haven't been out here to see you guys. Anyway, look, there's something I never understood. Why did both of you have to go? One of you could have stayed with me. Why did they get both of you? It was so stupid.
Your parents did what they thought was right.
For who?
For you, baby. This world is so much larger than just our little lives.
That doesn't...
Don't be interrupting me now. I'm talking here. You see me, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. If you're gonna make your life mean something, you gotta think big. Bigger than yourself.
Oh, for real? You went back after I left? You're too reckless. You're a loose cannon, man. We're supposed to use our powers to help people.
Right, like how you helped that jerk get stapled to the ceiling?
You did what?
What? Now, see, what had happened with that,
Your hair dials your phone. That's just stupid.
Not as stupid as freezing my toilet seat.
Yeah? Well, how stupid is this?
Hey, yo, guys.
Almost as stupid as this.
Oh, it is on!
Ow! You little...
Enough! Fishing! You flushed Fishy.
He did it. You're sorry? I'm about to be sacrificed, grounded for a month, and I'm wearing a hairnet, and you're sorry?
Oh, hello. It's good to know you've got some brains under all these spikes.
Nice work, little bro. Oh, random show of affection. Not cool. Sorry.
Ow! Impressive defensive shield.
Yeah, been there. Suffered that.
Oh, check it! I'm taking it to the streets!
Did you find a cure? He's getting worse. Painfully worse.
It's easy. We lower his body temperature a few degrees, and it'll destroy the enzyme in his system that's making him so crazy.
Hold up! Cold? I don't like the cold. This responsibility isn't anything I wanted. I've wished it away so many times, and now I just ask for it back. But we've made our choice. I guess there are just some things we have to do.
What do we got?
We got trouble.
Bring it on.
Looks like everything's back to normal.
Thank you for that. So, just in closing, from a branded entertainment company that, or if anyone here is from a company that's hoping to create entertainment, for us, and I think for all of you who come from this world, content is king. We set out to make great characters, exciting action, and some comedy for the kids, and I think we've done that. And if we could make, the direction of branded entertainment go in a way that the great creatives of content meet the great capitalist creators to pay for it, it works for everybody. So that's it for me today. I hope, I gave you a little insight into how we did it, and that's it.
Thanks, Kristen. Wow, so 8 million no executive TV notes, so a dream. I don't know if other people have 8 million here, but so what do you think is next? What are the next steps you really want to achieve?
You know, really for me, for the company, we have a couple of other properties that are in production. We're moving 2 into a direct-to-DVD format with the hopes of creating a DVD series for some girls' properties. Girls seem to be the toughest thing, at least in the US right now, because there are very few outlets to actually sell a girls' animated show. Girls have moved so much in 6 to 11 to live-action format. So we decided to go to the DVD route, and you don't have to spend $8 million to do a DVD. You know, it's a much, less expensive activity. And then if you have a hit, then maybe you go to TV. So, and eventually, hopefully, we're going to be looking for content in the near future from outside. But right now, we're just focusing on these 2.
Do we want to take an intelligent question from someone? Please? No? So then, thank you very much. We're very happy that there's shoe money for entertainment.
Shoe money for show money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Kristen, for being here.
Thank you.
And I invite now Dr. Naif Al-Mutawa to come join me on stage. So please welcome the founder and CEO of Teshkil Media Group. Naif, hi. Yeah. So you were a clinical psychologist, and now for 7 years you're working in entertainment, and you're going to tell us about the 99 case study, your show.
Yes. Should I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to start with a short animation and then take it from there in terms of how we, what we were able to do. And there we go. Sorry.
That's his 5 kids.
Yeah. You can see them up there?
Yeah. Oh, I see them here, sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
You don't see them. They're lovely.
So today I'm going to speak to you about the 99 and how we're able to build it out of Kuwait and bring it onto American television screens this TV season and hopefully around the world. I'm going to start with a short animated clip, and from there take you into the thinking behind the 9, how we set it up, and why we think this is the next big thing. So, is it going to play there, or how's it going to work? There we go. Can we get the lights, please?
99 stones of light and power scattered around the world. 99 powers beyond imagination. "99 young heroes, their fate not yet revealed. Together, they hold the future in their hands. But their struggle against evil stretches back through the ages. The story begins in 13th century Baghdad at the Dar al-Hikmah, the Library of Wisdom, a collection of knowledge second to none. But it wasn't to last. The Mongol horde swept in to destroy the empire. They filled the Tigris River with books to use them as a bridge. But waiting downriver were the scholars. They had 99 special gemstones, which they dipped in the water. Each was infused with the wisdom of the books. Wisdom and power. Thus were the Nur stones born. Today, 5 centuries later, 99 youngsters begin to discover the stones around the world. But who will guide the 99? The forces of light?
Well done, team.
Teamwork, 99 style.
Or the forces of darkness, led by the sinister Rugal?
We could save the world, you and I.
Save it from what exactly?
From fools like your friend there, Ramsey. Always yapping about helping the poor and the weak. This world belongs to the strong. The ones who are willing to crush dissent and impose their will on the mindless masses.
That's a little harsh, don't you think?
The world is harsh, Naif. Big animals eat smaller animals. But what do I know? I've only been around 500 years. Well, who's with me?
One by one, all over the world, the stones are being found. But will their new owners use them for good or for evil? The 99, a major new animated series from Endemol. Coming soon.
These are my 5 boys, and I can tell you their stories based on buying products from you, because we have Hamid, who's into Bleach right now, Faisal and Khalid, who are into Naruto and Pokemon interchangeably for the last 2 years, Rayyan, who called me a meddling kid last year because he was into Scooby-Doo and has now moved on to Ben 10, and Rakan, who knows exactly when to sing what during Barney songs. And in kind of spending time with my boys and watching them learn from animation, it occurred to me that there's a lot of stuff out there that's pretty negative about my culture, and how do I kind of use that as a tool for them and as an extension for kids all over the world. One thing that was very striking, Hamid, when he was 7, so he's 13 now, I actually have a teenager, he asked me, he said, Baba, I want to go to Egypt. And I said, okay, I want to see the pyramids, and I want to see he knew all these things. I was like, wow, the school is really teaching him a lot. And so we went to Egypt for spring break, and we got to the pyramids, and he said, Baba, that's Anubis, and I was like, wow. And he goes, where's Yu-Gi-Oh? And I said, what? And apparently he had learned about Egypt, not from school, even though we're in Kuwait. He learned it through Yu-Gi-Oh. And so the power of that wasn't lost on me. So the idea was, how do I get into mining my own culture for positive archetypes and using them in a way that become more global? How do I position this in a way that kids all over the world want to watch it? Because the last thing I wanted to do was create something that only my kids were going to watch. And so from the very beginning, I thought, well, the way it's being done outside, it's based on cultural archetypes. So those who have read Joseph Campbell, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, this might sound familiar, but that's the thinking that went into this. So basically, if you look at the superheroes that exist in the world today, prior to the 99 arriving, they're based on archetypes from Western culture, specifically biblical archetypes. Consider this, like the prophets and all the heroes that we know of, no matter what country they're from or what religion they're from or non-religion, all of them lose their parents, right? Superman's parents die on Krypton. He's raised by foster parents. Batman's parents die when he's 6. Spider-Man's raised by his aunt and uncle, right? All coincidence, and all of them, like for example, the stories of the prophets get their message from above through a messenger. The prophets get it from God through Gabriel, but Peter Parker's taking a photograph when the spider descends from above, right? And gives him his message through a bite, a metaphor for the Gabriel coming down. Bruce Wayne gets it when a bat flies over his head and he sees it as an omen to become Batman. Superman's not only sent from another planet or from the heavens, but when he's sent to Earth, you hear the voice of Jor-El, his father, saying, I have sent to you my only son. So these are clear archetypes. They're biblical archetypes, but there's no religion in the storylines, right? The Bible is known as the greatest story ever told. So Hollywood and content creators take that as a base for the story and create positive messages that are applicable to everybody, no matter where you're from, no matter what religion you're from or non-religion, doesn't matter. No two human beings would disagree that when Uncle Ben says, with great power comes great responsibility, that's specific to a particular religion. That's humanity. Right? So it was that thinking that I applied to my own culture to come up with the 99. Now, the story of the 99, I basically was, 7 years ago, I was in a cab going from Edgware Road to Harrods, a pilgrimage every Kuwaiti must make once in their lifetime. And on that trip, my sister turned to me. I just finished 4 graduate degrees. I'd done 3 master's degrees and a doctorate. I'm a clinical psychologist. And I dabbled in the mid-90s. I wrote and illustrated a series of children's books that won an award from UNESCO. And then I quit because I had a bit of a skirmish with the Ministry of Information in my neck of the desert and went to graduate school. I'm 32 at the time, and my sister says, Naif, how about you go back to writing for kids and not illustrate? That's the furthest thing from my mind. And so I wanted her to be quiet, but I couldn't say shut up, it's my sister. So I said, Samar, for me to go back now, it's got to be something that has the potential of Pokemon, otherwise it just doesn't make sense. So I said Pokemon, she was quiet, she understood that that's not possible. She was quiet, and I started free associated, as any New York trained psychologist would. So I said Pokemon. My next thought was there had been a fatwa issued against Pokemon. There are some places, even today, where Pokemon is not allowed because it's against the religion. My next thought was, my God, what has happened to Islam, and who's making these random decisions for my children? And it brought me full circle with the concept of the 99. I got out of the cab at Harrods, and I said, what do you think of this? She loved it. Of course, I didn't let her illustrate, but I gave her a small piece of the company as a thank you for asking me the right question at the right time in my life, and I ran with it. I raised $7 million my first time. This was back in 2004 from 54 investors in 8 countries, including $1 million came from my classmates in business school. So I have investors from the US, UK, Mexico, China, Lebanon, Egypt, Kuwait, Saudi, and I tell people I'm the only Kuwaiti that went to Beirut and actually came out with money. Never been done before. But the vision for the investors from day one was this was not going to be another made in fifth world country production. This was going to be Superman, or wasn't worth my time or their money. And they signed up for this. So from day one, bottom right, we have Fabian Nicieza, writer for Power Rangers and X-Men. Next to him is Dan Panosian, one of the original character creators for the newer X-Men. Top right is Stuart Moore, writer for Iron Man. And next to him is John McCrae, who's an inker for Spider-Man. And we entered global consciousness back in 2006 with the tagline, next Ramadan, the world will have new heroes. So the concept, very simply, you saw a bit of it in the trailer. The idea is this. I took a piece of history and I retold the story. As a psychologist, a lot of what you do in your work has to do with repositioning somebody's story. Somebody comes and tell you a story, and it can be the best thing in the world, but the way they tell it, you think, my God, this is depressing, right? Or vice versa. It could be the worst thing in the world. The way they tell it to you could be like, why is he so excited? And so one of it was about reframing the story. The other part of it was about perception. I wasn't happy kind of how things were being perceived in terms of our culture to ourselves. So the idea with the 99, basically, I went back to a point in history that kids in my part of the world know, the fall of Baghdad in 1258. And bear in mind, when I did this, it was 2003. Baghdad had just fallen again. But there's a particular story in that time. You go to any kids in the region, you say, what happened to the books in Dar al-Hikmah? They'll say they got thrown in the Tigris. What happened to the Tigris? It changes color with ink. Every kid knows that in that region. I rewrote that story. In my version of history, that knowledge never goes anywhere. It's now back to save the world, basically. And the idea was basically that the librarians would become heroes, and they save the knowledge. And here's a piece of advice for anybody who wants to write books. If you want your book to do well, make the librarians the hero. They buy them, right? So the idea is that they come up with this idea. They come up with this concept of stones that would mix with an alchemical solution would save the knowledge. The Mongols get there first. They dump the books and the king's water into the Tigris. Librarians dip the stones into the Tigris, suck up the information, take it through Arabia into Andalusia and Spain, where they're safe for over 200 years. Right? And again, this is positioning again. So in 1492, 2 things happened. First was the fall of Grenada, the last Muslim city in Europe. And the second was Columbus gets lost going to India, and he finds America. So now we tap into a story that everybody in the world, in the Western world, knows, which is Columbus finding America. So in my story, 33 of the stones are smuggled onto the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, and are spread in the New World. 33 go on the Silk Road to China, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, and 33 are spread between Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Now it's 2010, and there are 99 heroes from 99 different countries, almost evenly split between boys and girls. It's almost evenly split because it's an odd number. Central to the concept are these stones, these newer stones. Now, a few things. These newer stones have a King Arthur element. You can't choose the stone chooses you. So just because you have the stone doesn't mean you can have that power. Number 2 is that there's a struggle between 2 sides, as you saw, Ramsey and Rugal, for the stones. When the kids first start getting their stones, they use them for self-interest. And I'll take you through a couple of those examples. And when they use them for self-interest, they get manipulated by the wrong side. Okay? Another important thing about the stones is they have a self-updating mechanism. So up to this point, they have all the information from 1258 up to 1492. Ramsey wants the stones to update to present 21st century knowledge. Rugal does not, because when he can limit the information, he can control their minds and control knowledge. Okay? So I deal with certain issues that are there, pretty much in every single country in the world, but I deal with it in a metaphorical way for it to be representational. So here's some of the characters. We have Bari from South Africa. He's the character that can heal. one thing also, just keep in mind also, sorry I skipped over this, but the 99 work in teams of 3. Right? So it's not about, and that's another place where diversity comes from. It's not just that they're from 99 different countries, but no one character can solve anything on their own. And there's always the question, what best 3 are the best combination for this particular problem? We have Jabbar from Saudi, uses his muscles. Mumita from Portugal. This was a fun one to kind of try to figure out because you know, I didn't want all the girls to kind of be the lighter characteristics and men all strong and hegemonous and stuff. So Mumita is a fighting character, and she's obviously a girl. Rafi' from Turkey. Musawwira from Ghana, Wasi' from India, Noura from the Emirates, and Jama, our technology character from Hungary. We've received just nonstop positive support from the media for the last 4 years. We're very, very grateful for it. Time 3 times, Newsweek twice, front page of the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, and it's been consistently positive. But let me tell you, and I could tell you that, you know, I could tell you there was a PR plan that led to this, but the thing is that I'd be lying. There's a lot of luck involved in this, and a lot of good luck and a lot of kind of interesting luck. And the interesting luck is this. So basically, it was early December 2005. I went to Dubai to an Arab Thought Foundation conference, and I was waiting for the right reporter because I had a story. I had no product, but I had a story. And I found one. His name was Hassan Fattah. He worked for the New York Times at the time. And I cornered him and I pitched him, and I think I scared him because he agreed to do the article if I just go away. But he basically, you know, he said, you know, Naif, I'll do this. It'll be a paragraph in the art section, but it could be next week, could be next month. You know, it's something to do with our culture and cartoons. That's not really relevant. It's not timely. So a week passes, 2 weeks, a month passed. I called him up. I said, Happy New Year. He said, thank you. We had a baby. I said, congratulations. Article. He goes, still not timely. But what happens a few days after that is the world erupts in the Danish cartoon controversy. Right? I became timely. And so what happens is because of the positioning that the New York Times positioned us as Islamic comics, all of a sudden we had this amazing amount of coverage nonstop for the last 4 years, but also found ourselves saying, but this is not religious, this is not religious. And you know, this whole thing about all publicity is good publicity. Yes, fantastic publicity, but you know, at the end of the day, the user needs to understand that there's no religious content in this. If Superman and Spider-Man can be accused of being religious, then the 99 can be as well. But there's absolutely no religious content in there. It's just positive, modern-day storylines. I'll get to you know, we've been recognized all over the world from institutions in the East and the West, whether it's the UN or the World Economic Forum or the Halal Forum in Malaysia and so on and so forth. So it's been from all over. And we've been able to launch the comic books. We've sold the rights in 8 different languages. There's the Chinese version on mobiles happening in front of your eyes. Top left is in Arabic, bottom left in English, top right in Turkish, bottom right in Indonesian. So that's another question for us was, you know, is what we develop something that is global? Can it be, or is it just for the Middle East? Well, clearly it can go beyond the Middle East because we could tell from the comics. That's how we first test drove it. And the comics for us were very important because it was a way to get R&D that was semi-revenue producing, right? Because you can't change the look of a character after going through a season of animation, but you can after a couple of comic books. Our next test was, can we cross the format? And so actually the 99 Village theme park in Kuwait, which is an exercise in rebranding an existing theme park. Let me just go back to that, I'm sorry. Launched in Kuwait a year and a half ago, and it was an existing park before we came into the picture. And when you compare the numbers for the year before it was branded as the 99 to the year after, the footfall went up 101% and the revenue went up 56%. So the park owners are happy. We're happy as a brand licensor, and we're now looking at other parks that they own. They actually own 8 throughout the region. This is kids celebrating there. This is in Jahra, Kuwait, the most conservative part of Kuwait, yet up there on the wall you have superheroes from all over the world, a message of multiculturalism and pluralism and tolerance. We've done back-to-school deals in both Spain and Turkey, but the biggest thing we've done to date is, and the reason why I'm here today, is the joint venture with Endemol. Now, Endemol dropped out of the sky 3 years ago, literally. We had entertained all kinds of proposals. I was actually here at MIPJunior in 2007, felt very left out because I didn't know anybody. And Endemol dropped out of the sky, and they had, one of the executive producers on the show had found comic books that a friend of his son was reading in Egypt, brought them out, and he read them, and he loved them, and he contacted us, and we were excited, but we were also a bit skeptical. Endemol is huge, but they're not really known for kids' stuff. What do we do? And I spoke to one of my mentors out in California, and he said, listen, go for it. They didn't tell me why, but I found out why later, because of Enon coming on board as a CEO, and he had run Fox Kids, and so they knew what they were doing, and they're getting into this. And we've had a fantastic relationship. We've actually now committed to 3 seasons with Endemol. Season 2 is underway. Season 1's been sold so far in the US and in Turkey. And they're entertaining offers from other places. The most important part for me there was that distribution was intact. I didn't want to create the best animation in the world that no one was going to watch. It's in 3D CGI, written by, you might find writers as good. I doubt you'd be hard-pressed to find better writers. The series editor, Stan Berkowitz, has worked on Batman and other stuff. The writers include Dwayne McDuffie in season 2 from Ben 10, as well as Alan Burnett and a bunch of people who worked on Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Batman and Superman. It's all top-tier talent, and we're very, very excited. And the actual animation is being done in Chennai through Sandra. So I promised my investors that this could not be another made in fifth world country production. This was going to be Superman, or it wasn't worth my time or their money. How do you measure that? You measure it with the fact that this month, on October 27th, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League will be getting together with the 99 in a crossover published globally by DC Comics. And it's the first time in history that characters that represent our different parts of the world get together to have that conversation that's never been had between democratically selected, albeit not elected, cultural icons. And the stories do start with distrust and move over to trust, because the storylines will clearly show that when there's distrust, the bad guys win, and there'll be bad guys there from both character universes teaming up against the better good. This is a couple of the covers I had. This is a cover from the first issue. There's Superman, a bit dark here, Batman, and Wonder Woman with 3 of my characters, the one from Saudi, the one from Emirates, the one from Libya. And then this is the cover of book 2 coming out soon, Batman there, and 3 more pairings of the 99. So this is the story of kind of an idea that was grabbed out of thin air, that has now, I think, around 800 people working on the project, about ready to go on global television, and been very honored for the support we've been receiving from pretty much everybody. And if I can stop here, or I can show another clip. It's up to you based on time. What would you?
How short is the clip?
It's as short as you want it to be.
1 minute?
I can do that.
2 minutes, yeah.
I can do 2 minutes.
We talk about stereotypes, half German, 1 minute.
Well, 2 minutes to me means a lot of stuff. First of all, it means it starts in 15 minutes. Bleach, my son. Hold up, that's the wrong one. Let's go to movies. Let's go to there.
It is said that all the darkness of the world could be shattered by the light in just one pure heart.
Imagine then the hope that would spread if 99 of the pure-hearted came together as one.
John Weller. My name is Ramzi Razim.
I'm Dana Ibrahim.
And I'm Naif Al-Bilali. Pleasure to meet you.
Where you from? We're from all over, but we have much in common with you. May we come in?
The Rock? It's no big deal. Somebody gave it to me, that's all. But how did you know about it?
Call it an intuition. I was looking into the case of a man named William Danford.
I don't know any William Danford.
I believe you do.
I was going to stop that because it's a bit darker on the screen than it should be, but that's the story of the 99. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Naif. So very, very high aims and big expectations. So what are you, I won't talk about the 99 dreams you might have, but at least one, where do you want to take it? What is your hope for the next future?
My hope is that the 99 continues its sales on global television. We have a couple of countries signed up. We have a couple more we should be hearing about soon. Season 2 is underway. We're now in talks for film, serious talks for film. We've been in talks for years, but now it's serious. And my hope is that this is, the next Spider-Man, the next Ben 10, the next Batman. I really believe that it has the elements to propel it there.
And for Inon Kreis from Endemol, is it also a new step in a new direction for Endemol?
I can't speak for him. I can just tell you at the time that we did this, they weren't in kid stuff. I think that's changed slightly since then. But Inon was the reason I had done this, one of the big reasons, because I was, it's always flattering when a big person drops out of the sky, but when they actually have real legs to them, it makes a big difference. So very grateful for that opportunity.
Intelligent questions? Yes. Could you just tell your name and...
Hi, my name's Ruth from Low Worldwide, an advertising agency, but I wanted to understand what's your target?
It's family hour viewing. It's designed for kids of all ages and their parents. Yeah, I mean that's what we've seen in our in our internal focus groups. It's everybody's captured between the music and the pacing, and the language is not difficult, but it kind of just draws everybody in.
I understand that, so it's be shown on the hub with Margaret Lush was following your project from the beginning.
Margaret, I mean, it's a coup that we're on a U.S. broadcaster, but it's especially special for me that we're on the hub. Margaret is has been one of my mentors. I met her the summer of 2007, and got a lot of advice from her, and she's been following my writing. I write a lot of essays, and then when Endemol approached me, she's one of the people that I turned to, and I said, Margaret, this is flattering, but what do I do? And she actually also knew Inon because of the Fox Kids days and spoke highly of him, and it all kind of came together really, really nicely.
You talked about him, about a big guy. He's quite small, but quite powerful. Yes, was my boss for 5 years. Very demanding. Some other questions?
I'll keep out of that one.
But it's very, I mean, he sees something in it, so that's good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes? The mic is coming, because otherwise we don't. Just tell who you are, please.
I'm Mike Burns from Fuel Entertainment. When you look at Marvel and DC, they took years and years to build up such a huge cast of characters. How do you intend on building relationships with the audience so that these kids can kind of find a hero out of that entire 99 mix so quickly?
That's a good question. We've only created the first 30, and only the first 16 show up in season 1 of the animation. And so it'd be doubtful if more than 4 or 5 new ones get introduced in season 2. And so because it's based on combinations, if you had all 99, you'd have just under 160,000 different stories. So, and just the 16 we have now are enough for my grandchildren's if you had weekly stories. So, but conceptually, Pokemon is a few hundred characters, right? And I remember my son Hamed, when he was 5, he was into Digimon. And he knew him. I mean, he'd buy the stickers from Panini and the sticker albums and stuff. And in the beginning, like, I don't have this one, I don't have this one. But the album would be 3/4 full, or or almost. And he'd look at the sticker and goes, I already have this one. And he's right. He already has that one, because I mean, kids are just amazing that way. So, but short answer to your question is, I don't plan on having 99 until the market really demands 99 of them.
Or you can go higher. I mean, there's 200-something countries, so you got only 99 countries now.
Oh. Maybe there'll be some consolidation.
Yes. Yes.
Martin Wright from Game Lab London. Can you give us some indication as to what your multi-platform strategy is going to be?
We're at the moment entertaining various proposals as licensors. So we won't get into something unless it's a license. That's been our, the animation. We're very lucky. Endemol is the first time in their history they end up partly financing something they don't own, but we largely finance that. But by now we understand that we can get really lost in this labyrinth. So our focus is specifically on the content creation, and we work with other people. So we have proposals right now. We haven't signed anybody on yet. We're kind of learning slowly. But hopefully, with Endemol, we'll be doing mobisodes and webisodes. We are looking at various online gaming proposals right now.
Okay, one or two last questions, maybe?
Yeah. Specifically the gaming I was asking about. Presumably you've built a pretty vast store of assets which could migrate well into the 3D gaming environment. So presumably you would have to collaborate with any games developer in that respect.
Video games, I think, is the question.
We're very interested in doing that with the right partner. We're very interested in doing that.
I'm consulting with a company called Ubisoft on my talk.
Have your people call my people.
Well, they own their property usually also. That's an issue for the video game people.
They can buy it.
Yeah. Last question here.
Hi, I'm Sari Buxner from Just for Laughs. I was wondering if you've generated a lot of revenue through comic books since you said you started working, how successful you've been in that market.
You want the real answer?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
No, we didn't do much revenue on comic books. Recently, we've seen a lot of sales online, but when I say lots, it's hundreds a month. It's not millions a month. For us, the comic books was always kind of a path to the animation, and it was the yellow brick road that we pave it on, and we follow it. But for example, if you put all 30 issues of the comic books to date, and you look at the characters, the last year they've been consistent, but you see changes, which comic books allows you to do. Animation wouldn't allow you to do. I mean, you want to start changing your characters' look after a year, you're dead.
So where would you be airing in prime time in a country where you have the most visibility?
Where do we have the most visibility?
Kids? Yeah, where are you airing that?
We're not airing yet.
Oh, you're not airing yet?
We're airing
yet.
This
okay.
TV season is when it airs.
So maybe you're hoping the comic books will sell more after your...
Well, the comic book is neither here nor there for us.
Okay.
We're even happy to come out of publishing them ourselves and give them to a licensee in the region. For us, it's going to be about the animation and the revenue that's driven by that on other platforms. It's not about the comic books.
Well, just while I have the microphone, I wanted to congratulate you because you've done something fabulous that I think reflects where we are as a society at the moment, and it means a lot of different things, and I think that you've done something fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's a good last note, I think, so we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Hoping that the world will take it. Naif, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your lunch, and see you later maybe for another conference.